This weekend's UFC Fight Night is from Vancouver, Canada, and in the main event we have a fight between Reinier de Ridder and Brandon Allen. And in this video we will go over all the picks and method of victory predictions that have been made by the UFC Predictions Channels on YouTube for all 13 fights on this card. And we start at the bottom of the card for the first fight of the night in the women's bantamweight division between Melissa Croden, who's making her UFC debut, and Tainara Lisboa. And this fight is almost even in average odds. The newcomer Melissa Croden is the small favorite with minus 120 and Tainara Lisboa the underdog with plus 100. And it's also very close in picks by the YouTube prediction channels. But now Lisboa is the small favorite. 36 out of 70 channels predict that she will win for 51% and 34 out of 70 for Melissa. When we look at the picks from the best predictors, meaning the channels that have the highest return on investment with all of their picks in 2025, which are highlighted in dark green, they have Melissa Croden as the small favorite with 5 out of 9. And she's also the small favorite in picks by the best favorite predictors with 5 out of 9 as well. And the best favorite predictors have the highest return on investment with their picks on favorite fighters in odds only. And they have a little star icon in front of their name. And the best underdog predictors, the channels that have the highest return on investment with their picks on underdogs only, with a small dog in front of their name, they pick Tainara Lisboa 5 out of 8. But when the odds are this close, I wouldn't put too much value on the best favorite and underdog predictors. So overall, this fight is very close everywhere, in picks and in odds. For the method of victory predictions, we have 5 channels predicting a KO or TKO win for Melissa Croden. 0 go with a submission win. But most channels, as usual in a women's MMA fight, are going with a decision win, with 15 for Croden and 23 for Lisboa. And 3 out of 5 of the best method of victory predictors are going with a decision win for Lisboa. The next fight is in the middleweight division between Azamat Bekoev and Yousri Belgaroui. And both of them have fought 2 times before in the UFC. And the big favorite in average odds is Azamat Bekoev with minus 300. And Yousri is the underdog with plus 240. And he's also a huge favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels. 69 out of 72 channels predict that he will win this fight for 96%. And the best predictors agree with 8 out of 9. And also the best favorite predictors pick him 9 out of 10. And the underdog Yousri Belgaroui is picked by the best underdog predictors only 1 out of 8. For method of victory predictions, more than half of all the channels predict a KO or TKO win for Azamat Bekoev, which is picked by 25 out of 46 channels. 6 channels predict a submission win for Bekoev, and for a decision win we have 13 channels for Bekoev and only 1 for Yousri. And half of the best method of victory predictors are predicting a KO TKO win for Bekoev. For the next fight we go to the women's strawweight division for a fight between Stephanie Luciano, who has mixed results in her 3 UFC fights, and Ravena Oliveira, who lost her first UFC fight. In average odds, Stephanie Luciano is the big favorite with minus 300 and with plus 245 Ravena Oliveira the underdog. Stephanie is also the big favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels with 66 out of 70 channels predicting she will win for 94%. And she's also a huge favorite in picks by the best predictors and the best favorite predictors with 9 out of 10 for 90%. And the underdog Oliveira is picked by the best underdog predictors 0 times, so they have no faith in this underdog. And for method of victory predictions, all channels predict a decision win for Stephanie Luciano. The next fight is in the lightweight division between Prepolec and Dober, and both of them are on a 3-fight losing streak. Although he lost his last 3 fights, Dober is a huge favorite with minus 485, making him the biggest favorite on this card. And Prepolec with plus 370, the underdog. Dober is also the big favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels. 64 out of 72 predict that he will win for 89%. But he's not such a big favorite in picks by the best predictors with 7 out of 9 for 78%. And the best favorite predictors go with him 8 out of 10. And the underdog, Prepolec, is picked by the best underdog predictors 2 out of 8. So some of them see some value in this underdog. Most of the channels are predicting that this fight will end in a KO or TKO, but only 2 for Kyle and 33 out of 44 for 75% for Dober. 0 channels are going with a submission win, and 1 channel predicts a decision win for Kyle and 8 for Dober. And almost all of the best MOV predictors go with a KO TKO win for Dober 5 out of 6. The next fight is between Barlow and Santos in the middleweight division, who both lost their last fight. And just like the last 3 fights, we have another big favorite in Danny Barlow with minus 305 and with plus 245 Jourdain Santos, the underdog. Also, most of the channels picked Danny Barlow to win with 63 out of 73 for 86%. And all of the best predictors, 9 out of 9, go with Danny Barlow, and also the best favorite predictors, 10 out of 10, all pick Danny Barlow. And none of the best underdog predictors picked Jourdain Santos, the underdog, to win. And for the method of victory, we have 25 out of 47 channels going with a KO TKO win for Barlow and 1 for Santos. No one predicts a submission win in this fight, and for a decision win we have 19 channels for Barlow and 2 for Santos. And the best MOV predictors are 50-50 between a KO TKO or a decision win for Danny Barlow. The next fight is in the flyweight division between Bruno Silva and HyunSung Park. Out of his last 5 fights, Silva won 3 of them and lost his last 2, and Park won 4 of them and lost his last one. Park is a pretty big favorite with minus 240 in average odds, and with plus 195 Bruno Silva is the underdog. 54 out of 69 channels pick HyunSung Park to win this fight for 78%. And the best predictors agree, because they have been winning 8 out of 10 for 80%. And the favorite fighter in odds, HyunSung Park, is even a bigger favorite if mixed by the best favorite predictors with 9 out of 10 for 90%. And the underdog Bruno Silva is picked by the best underdog predictors only 1 out of 8, so not too much faith in this underdog. Most channels are expecting that this fight will end in a KO or TKO, with 6 for Bruno Silva, but most of them, 21 out of 39 for 54%, go with HyunSung Park by KO TKO. One channel goes with a submission win for Silva and 5 for Park. And for a decision win, 1 for Silva and 4 for Park. And 4 out of 6 of the best MOV predictors go with a KO TKO win for Park. But the odds makers disagree with the prediction channels, because in odds the most likely outcome is a decision win for Park with plus 185, which is only picked by 5 channels. And they think the least likely method of victory for HyunSung Park is a KO TKO win with plus 430, which is picked by more than half of all the channels. For the future prelim, we have a fight between Charles Jourdain and Davey Grant in the bantamweight division. And the favorite in this matchup is Charles Jourdain with minus 170 and Davey Grant the underdog with plus 140. Although Davey Grant is the underdog, he is the favorite, although a small one, in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, and 39 out of 75 predict he will win for 52%. But most of the best predictors pick Charles Jourdain to win with 8 out of 10 for 80%. And also the best favorite predictors are going with the favorite Charles Jourdain, 8 out of 10. What about the best underdog predictors? Do they have faith in the underdog Davey Grant? Well, some of them, and he's picked 3 out of 9 for 33%. For the method of victory predictions, we have one channel predicting a KO TKO win for Charles Jourdain and 3 for Davey Grant. 2 have predicted a submission win for Jourdain and 0 for Davey Grant. But most channels are expecting that this fight will go to the scorecards, with 14 for Jourdain and 21 for Grant. And the best method of victory predictors are 50-50 on a decision win for Jourdain or a decision win for Grant. Opening up the main card, we have a fight in the lightweight division between Kyle Nelson and Matt Frevola. Nelson lost his last fight and was on a 3-fight winning streak before that, and Frevola lost his last 2 fights and won 3 before that, all by KO or TKO. And in odds, this fight is almost even. Matt Frevola is the slight favorite with minus 120 and with plus 100 Kyle Nelson, the underdog. And Frevola is also the favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, with 46 out of 74 predicting he will win for 62%. But he's a much bigger favorite in picks by the best predictors with 8 out of 10. The best favorite predictors go with the small favorite Matt Frevola, 6 out of 10. And the underdog Kyle Nelson is picked by the best underdog predictors, 2 out of 9. But, as I mentioned before, when the odds are this close, we can kind of ignore the best favorite and underdog predictors. For the method of victory predictions, we have 7 channels predicting a KO TKO win for Kyle Nelson, but most channels have predicted a KO TKO win for Matt Frevola, which is picked by 27 out of 47 channels for 57%. Not a single channel has picked a submission win in this fight, and 7 channels predict a decision win for Kyle Nelson and 6 for Matt Frevola. And 3 out of 6 of the best MOV predictors go with a KO TKO win for Matt Frevola. The most likely outcome for this fight, according to the odds makers, is a KO TKO win by Kyle Nelson with plus 190 or a KO TKO win for Matt Frevola with plus 200. But more than half of all the prediction channels go with a KO TKO win for Matt Frevola. The next fight is in the bantamweight division between Cody Gibson and Aoriqileng. and both of them have a similar record with some wins or losses over the last 5 fights. The favorite fighter in odds is Cody Gibson with minus 175 and Aoriqileng is the underdog with plus 145. In picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Cody Gibson is a pretty big favorite. 56 out of 71 channels pick him to win for 79%. But it's pretty close in picks by the best predictors, and Cody Gibson is the small favorite with 5 out of 9. And the best predictors on favorite fighters and odds go with Cody Gibson, the favorite, 7 out of 10. And Aoriqileng, the underdog, is picked by the best underdog predictors, 3 out of 8. For method of victory predictions, we have 0 channels predicting that this fight will end in a KO or TKO. 4 channels predict a submission win for Cody Gibson, but almost all of the channels are expecting that this fight will go to the scorecards. And 31 out of 43 channels predict a decision win for Cody Gibson and 8 for Aoriqileng. And 4 out of 6 of the best MOV predictors go with a decision win for Cody Gibson. The next fight is on the women's flyweight division between Manon Fiorot and Jasmine Jasudavicius, and both of them have a pretty good record. Fiorot only lost her last fight against the champion Valentina Shevchenko, and Jasmine is on a 7-fight winning streak in the UFC. And the favorite in this matchup is Manon Fiorot with minus 240, and Jasmine the underdog with plus 195. Manon is also the favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels with 54 out of 74 for 73%. And the best predictors agree and they go with Manon 7 out of 10. And the best favorite predictors go with the favorite Manon 6 out of 10. And the underdog Jasmine is picked by the best underdog predictors 3 out of 9. For the method of victory predictions, we have 2 channels predicting a KO TKO win for Manon, 4 channels predict a submission win for Jasmine, but most channels expect that this fight will go to the scorecards. And 30 out of 42 channels pick Manon to win via decision, and 6 for Jasmine. And also the best MOV predictors, 5 out of 6 go with a decision win for Manon. The next one is in the bantamweight division between Marlon Vera and Ayman Zahabi. Marlon Vera lost 3 out of his last 5 fights, but those were all against the top ranked fighters in his division. And Zahabi is on an impressive winning streak and won his last 6 fights in the UFC. And in odds, this fight is a pretty close one. Zahabi is the slight favorite with minus 130 and with plus 110 Marlon Vera the underdog. Although Zahabi is not such a big favorite in odds, he is a pretty decent favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels. 52 out of 74 predict he will win for 70%. And with 6 out of 9, the best favorite predictors also favor Zahabi to win this fight. And also the best favorite predictors go with the favorite 6 out of 9 for Zahabi. And the best underdog predictors don't have a lot of faith in the underdog Marlon Vera, because he's only picked by 1 out of 9. For the method of victory predictions, we have 5 channels predicting a KO TKO win for Marlon Vera. Now the single channel predicts a submission win in this fight, but most channels predict that this fight will go to a decision, with 9 for Marlon Vera and 32 out of 46 for 70% for Zahabi. And 3 out of 5 of the best MOV predictors agree, and they also pick Zahabi by decision. The co-main event of the evening is in the welterweight division between Kevin Holland and Mike Mallet. Kevin Holland only won 2 out of his last 5 fights, and Mike Mallet won 4 of them. And in odds, this is a very close one. Kevin Holland is the slight favorite with minus 118 and with minus 103 Mike Mallet the underdog. But in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, it's not so close, and Mike Mallet is the favorite with 52 out of 76 for 68%. And Mike Mallet is even a bigger favorite in picks by the best predictors with 8 out of 10. And because this fight is so close in odds, we can kind of ignore the best favorite and underdog predictors, but the best favorite predictors have a 3 out of 10 for the small favorite Kevin Holland. And the best underdog predictors have the very small underdog Mike Mallet 7 out of 9. So overall, most of the YouTube predictors have a lot more faith in Mike Mallet than the odds makers. And for the method of victory predictions, we have 7 channels predicting a KO TKO win for Kevin Holland and 6 for Mike Mallet. For a submission win, we have 5 for Kevin and 8 for Mike. And for a decision win, 3 go with Kevin, but most of the channels, 13, go with Mike. So kind of fun to see that for both fighters, the method of victory predictions are kind of all over the place. And then, for the main event of the evening, we go to the middleweight division for a fight between Reinier de Ridder and Brendan Allen. Reinier de Ridder has won all of his fights in the UFC so far, and Brendan Allen won 3 out of his last 5 fights. With minus 210, Reinier de Ridder is the favorite, and Brandon Allen the underdog with plus 170. Although the Ridder is not such a big favorite in average odds, he is a big favorite in picks by the UFC Prediction Channels. 69 out of 74 channels pick him to win for 93%. And he's also the big favorite in picks by the best predictors with 8 out of 9. And the favorite fighter in odds, Reinier de Ridder, is picked by the best favorite predictors 10 out of 10 for 100%. And the underdog, Brandon Allen, is picked by the best underdog predictors 0 times. So they have no faith in this underdog. For method of victory predictions, we have 13 channels predicting a KO, TKO win for Reinier de Ridder. 16 think he will win via submission and 12 via decision. So kind of all over the place. And also with the picks by the best MLV predictors. 2 out of 5 go for a KO, TKO, 2 out of 5 for a submission and 1 out of 5 for a decision. For the best betting opportunities, I found 3 fighters. The first one is Matt Frevola. He is the small favorite with minus 120, but he's picked by the best predictors 8 out of 10 and the best favorite and underdog predictors 6 out of 10 and 7 out of 9, making him a pretty big favorite in picks by the best predictors overall. And if you want a better price than the minus 120 moneyline odds, a KO TKO prop bet gives you odds of plus 200 and is picked by 27 out of 47 channels for 57% and by 3 out of 6 of the best MLV predictors. The second best betting opportunity is Mike Mallet. In odds the fight is basically even, but in picks by the best predictors he is a big favorite with 8 out of 10 and also a big favorite in picks by the best favorite and underdog predictors with 7 out of 10 and 7 out of 9. For method of victory it's a bit more difficult because those predictions are kind of all over the place. But over the next couple of days more predictions are coming in, also including from the best method of victory predictors. And once those are in, maybe it becomes easier to pick a method of victory prediction. And you can get these daily updates by becoming a member on my Patreon channel, for which you can find a link in the video description below. And the last best betting opportunity is of course Reinier de Ridder. He is the favorite with minus 210, but he's picked by the best predictors 8 out of 9 and 100% by the best favorite and underdog predictors for 10 out of 10 and 8 out of 8. And for the prop bet, it's kind of the same as the previous best betting opportunity. For now, the method of victory predictions are kind of equal for each option. And the same with the predictions by the best method of victory predictors. So for me, I'll wait until more predictions are coming in over the next few days to make a decision. That was it for the overview video for UFC Vancouver, Canada. Hope you enjoyed it and found it informative or helpful. If you did, then don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, have a great weekend and enjoy the fights.